Welcome to Chapter 2. Here we're going to talk about Earth's crust in motion. The majority of this chapter is going to focus around the phenomenon of earthquakes. So let's just start by defining what an earthquake is. Before we get into that, just a quick reminder that Earth's crust is always moving. We looked at Chapter 1. The shaking and trembling that is the result of this movement. It happens beneath the movement beneath the Earth's surface, that movement that creates an earthquake. The movement of plates creates these powerful forces that squeeze and pull rock, and basically it causes this crust stress and all those little cracking and moving you get as a result is your earthquake. So let's talk about the stresses that they cause. There are three types of stresses you need to be familiar with: shearing stress, tension stress, and compression stress. These are pretty basic stresses that can be applied to other concepts as well. However, in this chapter, we are going to focus on their application towards earthquakes. So the first is shearing. Shearing stress is when things go side to side in opposite directions there, as you can see the image depicting. This is going to happen at transverse boundaries. So this is the pushing of massive rock in opposite directions, and it can cause the breaking and splitting apart of rock. Pretty straightforward shearing. Next is what happens when your plate boundaries are moving away from each other. In this case, we get tension forces. So if you're ever pulling on something, if you pull on a wire or something, you're giving it a tension stress. You're probably familiar on how this works if you ever play with Play-Doh. When you pull apart Play-Doh or some other type of putty or even your slime, you seem to stretch the rock out and it gets thin in the middle as they move apart. So you can look at that image for tension stresses. The third is compression stresses. Compression stresses are just when the plates are moving together. And in this case, they're going to start to fold or break on top of each other there and kind of get smushed. So you're going to get that bulge up in the middle. Last thing we want to talk about in this video is deformation. Deformation is just the fancy word for the changes in the volume and shape of the Earth's crust. Keep in mind this happens very, very slowly over a long period of time.